5.3 slope-intercept. This is a big section. It's got a lot of little formulas in it that we've got to memorize and a lot of different things. But it's really, once you get that down, it's really easy to use. We're going to be finding out about the slope-intercept form. We're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept from an equation. We're going to graph using that slope-intercept form, and we also will be using a point-slope form when we don't have the slope and we have to find it. All right, so let's get started. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where the m is your slope that we've already found, and this b, now this is a new part, this is your y-intercept, okay? So you notice now it's a little bit different from direct variation because direct variation pretty much stopped right here, didn't have all this stuff on the end, but with this form we will not be doing direct variations and we will be doing slope-intercept form. Okay, once you have something in y equals slope-intercept form, it is super easy to graph. So if you'll recall, the y-intercept is where the location of where the line crosses the y-axis. Super important. Y-intercept is your b. Alright, if you need to identify the slope and the y-intercept in an equation, the equation must be solved for y. And if it's not, you need to do so. But we've practiced this so many times, it should not be a problem. Alright, so let's look at this. It says name the slope and the y-intercept. So looking at our problem, and this is going to be why you see that I wanted you to put the x first. Alright, so this is going to be m is equal to, and m is going to always be next to your x. Alright, so m is -2. Alright, and then that makes our b, which is the back end here, 5. +5. It's that easy. Once it's in y equals, it's no problem. This one, it says y is equal to 4x minus 2. Our m is always attached to the x. M is 4. Remember, m stands for slope. And our b in this case is going to be the back end. It is a -2. This one says y is equal to -3. Alright, I don't have an x in this equation. And it's just a y equals. And we should know what kind of slope a y equals has. If there's no x, you could always just put a 0x if you wanted to. If that's the case, you know that it's 0x, that means it's a 0 slope. Because remember, y equals -3 is going to be that horizontal line. Okay, and horizontal lines have 0 slopes. Now, we don't have a slope, but we have this right here. This is where it's going to cross the y-axis. So our b in this case is going to be -3. Okay? And this one right here, -3x plus 4y equals 12. It's not solved for y, so we need to do that first. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to draw -3x plus 4y is equal to 12. Okay? And I'm going always, when we solve for y, x has to go first. Plus 3x plus 3x to both sides to make it equal. That cancels. 4y equals 3x plus 12. That's my dog barking in the background if you hear him. And we're dividing by 4, dividing by 4, dividing by 4. Y is going to be equal to 3 over 4x, and then 12 divided by 4 is 3. So now it's in y equals form. Now we can determine what the slope is versus what the y-intercept is. The slope is your m, which is always attached to your x. So that's going to be, oops, my pen won't move, 3 over 4. And then my y-intercept will be whatever's left over tagged onto it, plus 3. Okay? All right, now this one is a little bit more complicated. As you can see, it is not solved for y, and we will do it because we need to practice doing the more complicated ones just as well. We need to distribute first. Whenever you see those parentheses, they've got to go. So distributing, you're going to have 1/2 times 2x, which is going to make 1x. 1/2 times a -4 is going to make a -2 equals. Now let's do the other side. -3 times y, -3y. And -3 times 3, which is going to make a +9. Now you just solve for y. Okay, so I'm going to move this 9 over there. Get rid of him. This is going to be 1x minus 11 equals negative, whoops, run out of room, equals -3y. All right, then divide by -3. Everything. So y will be equal to -1/3 x plus 11 over 3. That's what y is equal to. All right, so in this case, whatever's next to your x is your slope. So our slope in this case is a -1/3. And then our y-intercept is going to be 11 over 3. Very simple. All right, let's do next page. All right, write an equation if you're given the slope and the y-intercept. You're given m and b. All right, so all we have to do is plug this into our equation, which is y is equal to mx plus b. All right, so all we have to do is plug that in. We've already got everything. So this particular one is going to be y is equal to, our m is 5. There's x. And b is -3. It's that simple. All right, how about this one over here? The slope is -2/3. The y-intercept is 4. Remember, slope is the same thing as m. This one is y is equal to -2. Whoops, that's not a 2. Let's try that again. -2 divided by 3 x, always in your problem. And then y-intercept in this case is 4, so that's going to be a +4. So that is your equation. Whoa, let's try that again. Right, your equation. Can't draw a circle. Sorry, I'm trying to do this and look up at the same time. All right, so once you have an equation in the form of y equals mx plus b, you can easily graph it. So this one right here is already in that format, 1/2 x plus 3. And you will really like this because we've really worked hard to get it in this format so that you can graph without a problem. You want to identify the y-intercept, or you want to find the b. So b is going to be, in this case, +3. And then the m in this case, which is the next step, is 1/2. Okay? It's just the number. M is just a number. All right, so when you do this, once you find those two parts, you will always begin with the b. B, B. Begin with the b. So you're going to go to the b, which is the same thing as your y-intercept. And you're going to put a point where y is 3. All right, so we're talking about the axis. Y-axis is up and down. We're going to go to the third part. Put a dot. All right, from there, from this dot, you're going to move with the m. M and m, move with the m. So that means you're going to take your slope and you're going to go from that point. Now, this is a positive slope, so you're going to go up You're going to go up 1 and always right and put yourself a dot. Do it again if you want to, up 1 and over 2. And you notice it makes a nice straight line, and then draw your line. Okay? And that's all you do. So you begin with the B, do your slope, and draw your line. Okay? Very, very easy. All right, but now they're going to give you lines on a graph, and now you got to decide what that equation is based on the line. So they don't give you any points. You're going to have to find a place where it crosses at a corner exactly. Okay, you don't want to just make one up. Determine this slope using the slope formula, or I recommend that you can use the triangle method and count. Okay, but if you want to use the points, you have to find the exact point. I'm going to use this point right here. It's right at a corner. This point right here, which is right at a corner. And I'm going to draw up and over to meet that other point. And then I'm going to count how many spaces I went. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so remember slope is rise over run, which is always up, down, first, and then run. Up, down, first. So how many did I go up or down? I went up 3. And how many did I go across? I went across 4. You want to make sure you have that simplified, and then you want to look and see, is this a positive or negative slope? It's positive. So there's my slope, y is equal to, put your x. Then you need to find the y-intercept. Well, I happen to make a dot right there at that y-intercept. What is the location on the y? That would be -2. So this equation is simply 3/4 x minus 2. All right, let's do this one. Put a dot on the place where it crosses exactly. Nope, I don't like that one. Put it down here, right there. Okay, and then I'm going to do the triangle method. I'm going to connect the dots. And then I'm going to count the spaces. 1, 2, 3 here. And then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then you look and see, is it a positive or negative slope? This one is negative. It's going down if you read it left to right, so I'm going to put a negative. How many did I go up or down? I went up or down 5, and then I ran 3. Put your x, and then you look at the place where it crosses the y. Crosses the y right here, and that place is 3. So it's going to be a positive 3. And those are your 2 equations for those graphs. Very, very simple. All right, so we have 3 formulas. We have y is equal to mx plus b, which is your slope intercept form. That's because there's a slope in it and the intercept. Then you have the slope formula where you're trying to find the slope when you only have 2 points. And you split it up, team 1, team 2, and split it in there. And then you have this new one called point slope form. And that's where they give you a slope, and then they give you a point, and then you need to find the equation of that line. Okay, so this is where you have a point, and you have a slope. You need equation. All right, that's when you're going to use point slope. Now, that would look like I'm in. All right, so you're going to write an equation in point slope intercept form, slope intercept form, given 2 points, okay? So we're going to be working this on the next page. We'll go through the steps. We're going to be using these 2 points, and that's all they gave us. So the very first thing, you can't do anything without knowing what the slope is. So you must calculate the slope using the slope formula. That's step one. Step two, you're going to use the slope you found in one of the points. It does not matter either one of these points. You can use just one, either negative 3, 7 or 12, negative 3. You have to use the group, but you can use either one you want to. Now, if you ever have this situation where one of them is both positives, I recommend using the positive ones. But if not, you can use either one you want to. Because I say that because you notice in the formula for point slope, you have negatives in there. And if you don't watch, people drop the negatives and then it's wrong. Then once you find that and you plug it into your equation, your point slope form, you are going to finish it up and solve for y, which will make your slope intercept form equation, which is exactly what you want, so you can graph. Again, this is what you want. You want to graph something very easy. You want it in the slope intercept form. All right, so while we're doing this, I want you to think, if you can think of another way, you can determine the equation of a line that goes through two given points. There's other ways. I want you to think about that while we're doing this. All right, so let's go practice one. All right, so we're going to do this point right here, negative 3, 7, and 12, negative 3. Step one was to find the slope. So I plugged it into my slope formula, the y2. And again, I'm going to go ahead and label my points. This is team 1. This is team 2. Plugging them in, I'm going to get negative 3 minus 7 and 12 minus a negative 3. And when you simplify that out, you'll get negative 10 over 15, which simplifies to negative 2/3. So that's my m. Now, you can pick either one of these points to use. I'm going to pick negative 3, 7. It doesn't matter. It'll still work the same. So grab one of those points, and you're going to use the point slope formula. And notice where I'm plugging it in. The formula says y minus y1. Whenever there is a y sub 1 or an x, that's where you plug in, not if it's just a plain y on these kind of problems. Okay? And then you plug in your x right here. This x must stay by itself. This y must stay by itself. Okay? When you solve this, you have to distribute and do all that stuff. It'll be a negative. Let me go ahead and write this over here. It'll be y minus 7. Oh, my pen's not working. Oops. Hold on. Let's. Not working. All right, let's fix this. Y minus 7 equals negative 2/3 times x is negative 2/3 x. And negative 2/3, just did that, negative 2/3 times a positive 3, because this will make a positive right here, that's going to make a negative 2. Right? So then you solve for y, so I'm going to add 7. Add 7, you will end up with y is equal to negative 2 over 3x plus 5. Right, which is what I wrote right here. All right, so then once it's in y equals mx plus b form, you can graph it. Remember, we begin with the b's, which is always the back end that does not have a variable with it. So I'm going to go to my y, which is the reason why we're starting with that. It's the y-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a dot. And from that point, we will use the slope. This one says negative 2/3. So I'm going to go down 2 and out 3. Down 2 and out 3 more. And draw my line. Okay? Very good. Double check your work. It's a negative slope, so it should be a negative line, which it is. You can graph it in your calculator and check it too. All right, so we're going to practice some of these, writing the equation and graphing line in class. If you want to practice these, you can, but these we'll do in class. So if you have any questions, come see me and we will do some work together. And I'll see you next time.